Hi YouTube, Tim Unkert here. In this video, I'm going to go through simplifying cube and fourth roots. This is homework that I've given my Algebra 1 honors. They're actually doing problems 4 through 7. So let's go through it. So we have the fourth root of 625 times x to the 20th times y to the 4th. I'm going to break this apart here into 625, or the fourth root of 625, and I can write that with a fractional exponent as 625 to the 1/4 power times x to the 20th power raised to the 1/4 power times y to the 4th power raised to the 1/4 power. Okay, the fourth root of 625 is 5 because if you multiply 4 5s together, so 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, you will get 625. And if you want to try this on decimals, you can plug 625 to the 1/4 power in, and you will get 5. So that's 5 times x to the 20th power raised to the 1/4 power. When you raise a power to a power, you multiply the power, so you get 20/4, or 5. So this becomes, we're multiplying 5 times x to the 5th power, okay, times y to the 4th power raised to the 1/4 power. Again, it's a power to a power, so you multiply the power, so you get y to the 1st power, or you can just write y. Now these dots indicate multiplication here, but what we can do is just get rid of them and write the variables next to the number, and that also indicates multiplication. So we have 5x to the 5th y as our solution here. Okay, in this next one, we've got a cube root of negative 8x cubed y cubed z to the 9th. Let's do it in a different color here. So we can break this apart into negative 8 to the 1/3 power, that's the cube root of negative 8, times x cubed to the 1/3 power, times y cubed to the 1/3 power, times z to the 9th to the 1/3 power. Okay, so the cube root of negative 8 is negative 2, because negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, well, that equals negative 8. So we're going to start here with negative 2, and then we have x cubed to the 1/3 power. Well, 3 times 1/3 is just 1, so we have x to the 1st power. I'm just going to write x. And I'm writing these next to each other. That indicates multiplication. Y cubed to the 1/3 power is just y to the 1st power. We'll just write y. And then z to the 9th to the 1/3 power, that's 9/3, so that'd be z cubed. So that's my solution for that one. Okay, next one. Let's see if we can fit this all in here. I may have to erase. Let's do it in this color. So we're going to break this apart. The fourth root of 16, a to the 40th, b to the 80th, c to the 1/20th. So we're going to have the fourth root of 16, which I'm writing as 16 to the 1/4 power, times a to the 40th power to the 1/4 power, times b to the 80th power to the 1/4 power, times c to the 1/20th power to the 1/4 power. Okay, so the fourth root of 16 is going to be 2, because if you multiply 4 2's together, you're going to get 16. So we have 2. A to the 40th to the 1/4 power, so 44ths, that's going to be a to the 10th power. 2a to the 10th power. Then b, 84ths is 20, so it's going to be b to the 20th power. And then 1/24ths is 30, so it's going to be c to the 30th power. And these are written right next to each other, meaning we are multiplying all these things together. All right, so that's that one. All right. Let's pick one. Let's pick this color for the last one. Okay, so this last one's a little bit trickier. We're going to start with negative 27 to the 1/3 power, the cube root of negative 27, times r cubed to the 1/3 power, times, it's going to be s to the first power to the 1/3 power. Okay, so the cube root of negative 27 is negative 3, because if you multiply 3 negative 3's together, you're going to get negative 27. R cubed to the 1/3 power, that's 3/3, so that's r to the first power. Now we have s to the first power raised to the 1/3 power. So 1 times 1/3 is 1/3. So we actually have the cube root of s here. So we're going to write this back with the cube root of s. Okay, so we have negative 3r times the cube root of s, and that's how we're going to leave our solution for this last one. Okay, that's all there is to it for these problems. If you found this helpful or you enjoyed watching this, give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to. And also, if you have questions, leave comments in the comments below.